Hey guys, I wanted to do a commentary video for Dimensius Mythic since a bunch of people are going to start pulling this boss soon who might want this guide available. So yeah, there we go. So this fight has many factors and many layers involved. I'll try and cover everything, but obviously, you know, limited time. So very first thing you want to do is whenever you guys do a timer, 10 seconds before the timer, you want a mirror image. And this is for a reason you'll see later on. You can do your defenses however you like. This is just what we did in our prog, and I did spend a good amount of time looking at defenses, and this is what I believe is the best. So yeah.
Who the fuck was that? I thought I unmuted a tab on
So yeah, mirror image.
Dude, I checked Need You Mage string. It was like, is that guy
You
house?
barrier before, and then you're gonna go obviously. First thing you're gonna do here is you're going to Arcane Orb the ads and then evocate. And this is gonna give you your 4 charges so that your first barrage is stronger. And then you just do your opener. If the ads on the other side, and I guess these ads as well obviously because they're linked, are dead before your barrage goes off, there is maybe an argument to actually do your evo before you take the portal, or skip the. I guess you can't skip the orb, but I guess just evo before. But most likely it will not happen for you during your prog.
Yep.
Then we pick up our mass. Just casting.
Alright, first
Yeah.
knock.
So first thing I would recommend is, as a mage, make sure you're tracking time spirals, and hopefully your guild is assigning them a little bit. Knowing when you have time spiral is really, really useful. For me, I'm relying on time spiral on certain spots here in P1. You can kind of play around that if you aren't. But we have a TS here that I'm going to use to shimmer. And then I'll have my shimmer back. And yeah, just doing them. Okay, so these ads spawn, right? So the first thing that you should know is you want to be barraging the boss when possible. But obviously you need to do what you need to kill the boss, right? So while barraging the boss, the point is that you're going to be cleaving this ad here and also the front ad of the other side. Now, both front ads really don't need that much damage. Most people can hit the front ads. It's just that for Arcane, we're going to get extra funnel while doing this. So you're going to gain more damage on the boss by doing that, right? There is actually a maximum range for when you're going to be able to cleave the front of the other side. So for example, right now, I think I'm only hitting this guy. Whereas if I was a little bit closer, I'd be hitting all 3. But it is what it is. Sometimes you can't help it. Anyway, once you finish your soul, you're going to be pressing a... You should be pressing a mass barrier, or not mass barrier, sorry, a mage barrier here before this thing lands, basically. And then you're going to go into a shifting shimmer. I was a little bit late here, but yeah. Once you're done with your shimmer, or your shifting shimmer, you're going to look for a invis for this explosion that's coming. So I should be casting it right now. There we go. So you see I cast it, I take no damage. And then we're straight into our mini. You want to be a little careful with this mini actually though. You don't want to cast it instantly. So there's something to realize for phase 1 in general, is that you're going to get 2 presses of your big, which means you also only get 4 presses of your touch, which is, I guess, obviously 2 of the touches for big and 2 of them are mini. But that means we're going to be holding cooldowns a lot. So you have a lot of flexibility of when to use your mini, right? So we're not going to press it just on cooldown. You're going to wait until these gravities come out. And then once you know for sure that you're not targeted, that's when you're going to send your mini. So you see here I waited in my touch. And then I'm going to obviously do the missile barrage touch. And then I'm like full confidence that I'm going to be able to hit the boss during this touch. Okay? If I didn't get this touch in time because my gravity was or the gravity was assigned to me, then I would just wait until after the gravity, and I'll actually have a video of this later in the phase.
Oh god.
But yeah. And we're just DPSing, Okay. So at this point, we're going to have the cancel knockback, which is knockback 2. So this one is the one you want to cancel. And this is a great time to start thinking about holding a clear casting and maybe even a GI for movement purposes. So you'll see here, I actually don't hold one. Maybe I hold this one. Nope, I'm just stupid. Yeah, so you want to shimmer and ideally have 1 or 2 things to cast while moving here to get into position. So I should have held both the clear casting and the GI actually for right here so that I could right now be clear casting barrage. I explosion because I realized I'm out of luck. Or well, stupid I guess because I didn't hold. But I get an intuition proc which is nice, so then I end up using that one. Anyway, for this drop we're going to use our alter time. So we're going to alter at full HP, and you're going to keep DPSing. And the moment this thing hits you, you're going to snap your alter, and then shimmer. Okay? get out of the shit. And because you have Shimmer, try and drop in like a deep location so that you can help others be a bit, have an easier time. Once you shimmer out here, your ad DPS is gonna depend on your guild. For my guild, my assignment is to hit this front ad, and sometimes I'm like the control guy, so sometimes I have to swap early. It seemed fine on this one. You can use the liquid nameplate thingies. If it's like 20% or lower, it's usually fine to keep hitting. If it's higher than 20%, you probably want to swap. I greeted here because it's a reclear. I just went for the barrage because it's an execute. Yeah. I do end up switching to the back one though to pay out for my sins to make sure that it dies. But yeah. Anyway, we're soaking again. And notice that we're not popping our cooldown straight away because once again, we have gravities, right? So this is what I was talking about. You always want to hold cooldowns till after your gravity comes out. So gravity comes out, I'm assigned back. As a mage, you always want to be assigned back if possible because you have shimmer, which makes it really easy. So I'm just going to turn, instantly look at the marker and shimmer. I'm going to get in position. And this is the first kind of, not first, but one of the cool optimizations you can do. Before you get sent up, make sure you barrage. I don't care if you're going to get charges back, you have to make sure you barrage. The reason is because for both the previous gravity and this gravity and the next gravity, you should be holding your Touch of the Magi, right? Because you want to wait till you see if you get touch or not. If you get sent up and you barrage before you go up, your Touch of the Magi is going to give you charges back anyway when you come back down. You can just like press it after like a missile or something. Now the question is, why do we even barrage? Why even go to 0? It's not like an efficient global. For one, you're going to fit an extra global because, you're potentially fitting an extra cast and that might get interrupted otherwise. But the main reason we do so is to refresh tempo. Look at my arcane tempo right now. It's 6 seconds, right? I'm not sent up yet, but it's going to be 5 seconds right as I press it. But let's imagine I don't send it, right? I'm going to get sent up at 129 or 130. It's 129 really, with 5 seconds on tempo. Let's see how long it takes for me to get down. And my tempo is gone. Right? Minus 10% haste for the next however many. And obviously if you're doing a big in a second, then you're losing that tempo. So by me sending and the fact that I refreshed, now I actually get to keep my tempo up. I land and now I have like this grocery list of things I need to do. 1, I need to refresh tempo again before I start my big cast. And then 2, I need to pop a bunch of cooldowns. My assignment is to do Ice Cold here. I mean, this is just what I assigned myself. I also need to mass barrier for my team. This is a fantastic time to mass barrier because you're going to be helping your team basically survive during this part. Healers are running and they're gatewaying, so they cannot heal. So obviously, like, it's a fantastic time to get your team up with mass barrier. And then namely as well, like anybody who's lagging behind right now is somebody who's going to be actually out of range of the other 2 healers from the other side, so they're going to need extra pressure as everyone who's in the middle is already being healed. So staying behind a little bit, making sure you get your mass off is great. Obviously Ice Cold for yourself. On top of the Ice Cold though, you do want to get a mirror image off ideally before, because we want our mirror image to cover the next couple of mechanics. And if you cast it any later than this, then that's going to be during your cooldown. So your list of assignments here is Ice Cold, well, refresh tempo first, Ice Cold, mirror image, mass barrier. Okay? I'm in my reclear, so I don't cast either mass or mirror image, because yeah, my healers are more than capable at this point. It's reclear, we don't care anymore. But in Prog, I promise you, I pressed every single one of those every single time, no matter what. Okay? So at this point, I would be evocating like right now if I did what I was supposed to do. And then you're just gonna, because you don't have 4 charges, you're gonna go into a touch with just a surge, not a barrage, right? Because no 4 charges. So you see, I surge, touch. I had intuition after I did get to cast the barrage after, but if you don't, obviously you're just missile blast blasting. And at this point, you're just waiting for a time spiral. The tank who's tanking the boss right now kind of griefs me by stepping back too early. Like, this is not supposed to happen. This has never happened. But he steps back a millisecond too early and interrupts us. You can see other people even get surprised by this. But yeah, normally you're just waiting for the time spiral and then you're going to shimmer. And then you go back to DPSing. Okay. Now at this point, you have a couple of options. A, if you're of wise mind, then you should have been able to save some like instant casts for when you're flying. And then you can cast them while you're flying right here. Fantastic thing to cast here would be Mage Barrier, just to help yourself defensively. Especially if you don't care about damage, which really in Brog you don't in P1. But if you want to do damage because you care, then what you should be doing is here is turning and then shimmering onto the spot that you want to go to, so it would be here. Obviously, don't shimmer into this, you will die. So a good way to do is to actually look at the edge and shimmer. It is impossible to shimmer over the edge. It is just not a thing that happens in World of Warcraft. The edge stops you. So you're always safe to just look at the edge and shimmer. So try to do your best to aim. If you're ever scared, then like try to shimmer earlier on and then move on to your spot. Okay? Anyway, you're going to continue DPSing. Make sure you live here. For me, at this point in my prog, I would have had images and my prismatic barrier up. At this point here, I don't. What I tended to do sometimes was like be a bit forward just to get hit by the Evoker's Dragon Breath that just cast it and then move back into this spot. But it's re-clear. I don't care. My healers are capable. So I'm just DPSing. Now, if you had done how I did it, where I didn't shimmer onto the spot, then you can shimmer out of this spot. But honestly, it's not super necessary, especially if you are like did the earlier evocation like I did here, because what happens is as this drops, you're gonna start your soul, and that means you can cast while moving during the soul. So I could have actually just walked out. The reason that you think about walking out instead of shimmering is because if you had shimmered onto the spot, you'd have one less shimmer charge, so you wouldn't have that shimmer I just cast. Or if you do, it would be your last one. Okay? I don't like having no shimmers because of the gravity stuff, but yeah. Anyway, for this explosion, we're going to cast Alter Time again, because we should have mirror images from earlier. That's the purpose of this. Okay, the mirror images that we cast earlier. It's to cover the knockback, those drops, and this explosion, and then this way we get to just do an Alter Time for this. I don't even know if I cast it. Yeah, I don't even go to cast it because XD re-clear. Anyway, finish off our soul. And then as soon as I see I'm not targeted, I can go for the shifting. Do not try the shifting before you get targeted. It would be a waste. And then yeah, we're just DPSing. Okay, kind of cool trick you can do and learn over here. So if a boss ever is really far away, like this boss is, then there's something you can do with like a double barrage. This also technically works at 40 yards. This is not that useful, but it's cool to know here. Where, for example, if I want a bit more extra mana because I know I'm going to go or something like that, or you have like nice proc setup where you have like a GI and an intuition, for example, back to back, then you can actually barrage touch. And this touch, if you do it fast enough, will actually get both the barrages that you cast. Okay? So I got the intuition barrage and the regular barrage into this Touch of the Magi. And then we keep DPSing, This knockback, you don't need to cast anything, like just a mage barrier, obviously. Nothing else. I don't even, yeah, I cast a mage barrier, at least I'm not too greedy. Now at this point, we're stopping DPS for like a while. I was hitting for a little bit because I had touch up. We're just going to swap to ads. You need to do whatever you need to do here to live, okay? Feel free to use Alter Time to help yourself heal. Feel free to health pot, you're not going to need it. Do not health stone, though, obviously that's a limited use. Just drop your thing, get out. You can even shimmer out if you want. You can go for like some cheeky barrage executes into like orbs on both ads like I did there. You can greater invis, sorry, for this explosion that's coming. I did it a second too early, so it actually does not cover this. But yeah, and then you're gonna push. That's P1 done. A lot of stuff, I know. But you're gonna spend a good amount of time in P1 potentially. Let me mute this. Gonna fast forward a bit onto the platform. Okay, so I mean the flying, you know, just fly. Land on the platform, straight away Evo, missile, nothing crazy, surge touch, surge barrage touch really, and then you're just DPSing, we're DPSing. If you get a GI proc here, or an intuition proc, you should save it for these ads, because especially a GI, right? You don't need to spend your GI insta. You can delay GI for as long as like you don't get to burden again. GI plus burden freaks out. It makes the GI not give you charges back. So do not have GI and burden. So you need to cast it before they get burden. Here I got an intuition. I was actually a little scared of like maybe losing it or something. I don't know. Maybe I was just bad. But yeah, you could also just wait for the walls and cast it. That would still be the same amount of funnel if you don't care about ad damage. But yeah, you can hold stuff. As soon as everything is gripped, you can start looking for the execute barrage, which is just like, because you have Arcane Orb available to you, you can always barrage an extra time and execute just to barrage, and then use your orb to get charges back. Notably, you can always use orb on even the walls, not just like important ads, right? So keep that in mind. I go for our barrage a little earlier because I know our damage is fucking insane, so I'm not too fussed about that. But if you have guys a bit less damage, then try to get that extra barrage in to execute specifically if possible. Anyway, I get my GI barrage in here at least. Touch of the Magi explodes right after Az die, unfortunately. We just have too much damage even with a buyer. But it is what it is. We're DPSing. Soul, run. Okay. I get the ranged thing, so I'm gonna go here. Yeah, just playing out the soul. Okay. So it is important here that after the lines, after the circle's finished, just stand still, don't move. If you get a line, fantastic. You should already be automatically spread from the circles. I mean, this is just Dimensius in general, is how you play the fight, not a mage specific thing. So yeah, adjust, get in position. Okay. So there's a couple of ways to play this pushback. You can use shimmers, or you can use alter time. I used alter time in my prog just because I don't like to aim shimmer like while I'm getting pushed and trying to DPS, especially with missiles. And frankly, you don't need alter time for anything like defensively in this encounter, on this part of the fight at least, ever. So I just alter. Shifting power, I get dragged, I'm just DPSing, right? The moment I'm out of range, I snap my altar. Because they nerfed the pushback, funnily enough, my alter time makes it even worse. So maybe get pushed back a little bit first before you alter, but you can just do what I did here, which is just shimmer afterwards when it's calm. Anyway, I had a GI there that I could have held, and you could hold it actually. The only danger is if you hold that GI, especially if you're holding Touch of the Magi as well, make sure the Touch of the Magi does explode. I could have actually cast the touch on Artoshion earlier here, like as soon as it came up basically, so that it explodes on the ads. Unfortunately for us, we were stopping DPS on Artoshion from even like, we already know we're going to be ad, so we're just saying, okay, just hit the wall ad. So I target the wall ad and just barrage touch the wall ad, fuck it. At least then the wall ad dies and the touch explodes, even if it's going to be a small touch. I go for a missile, barrage, and I even should go for the extra barrage with the orb thing. Yep, I go for the extra barrage. Orb, target anything that's not Artoshion, we kill him off, and then a gateway. We have a little bit in our guild where we want to kill this hat just to do a bit more damage because it's funny. Bit of extra Warcraft logs damage. You do not need to kill this hat for anything, but you know, and there's nothing to do, you might as well. Okay. We're gonna go into our mount phase. Notice by the way, there's no defenses on this platform. This platform just does nothing. You should not ever need a defensive. Oh, one thing I should note actually. These lines, you cannot be targeted by the lines 2 times in one intermission or in one phase. So you can actually kind of predict whether you're going to get a line or not. So you'll see here, I've not gotten a line. So I actually pre-position as if I'm going to get a line. You see? Because what you don't want to do is be out of position. Like imagine I'm standing here and then I get this line. I might freak out other people. Also as a mage, like the tank would want to be near the wall, and then as a mage you kind of want to be second for a couple of reasons. One, the knockback, you can shimmer it, but if you're closer to this wall, then it's bad, you can kill yourself. So being on this second position is actually really nice because it gives you the most space to shimmer. So pre-position this line if possible. And then, yeah, I mean, if you don't get it, then you just move out. But yeah, highly recommend that, pre-planning, I guess. And we're flying. Okay. So on this platform, if you're assigned to soak, which you probably are, the moment you land, you're going to mirror image. Okay? Now, once again, if you're going for the damage, if you're going to mirror image, you actually want to do it during cooldowns. This is going to sound stupid, but hear me out. The reason is because if your guild's damage is good, your Touch of the Magi will just not explode if you're mirror image. I've had this happen to me where my other mage didn't mirror image because he soaks the second time. I do, because I soaked the first time, and my touch doesn't explode because of this one GCD that I would have spent. We both land at the same time, yeah. So yeah, go for that. Also, this is a great time to use your pot, so you can surge, pots, barrage, touch. Because Arcane Mages, this is the platform. Arcane Mage, this is why you bring Arcane Mages, for this platform. So just make that the strongest part of your fight, okay? DPSing. Remember, you can hold Intuition and GI here. Do the extra barrage. And then see, like, my touch just exploded. Look at the adds HP. This is with a buyer. And with one less Elemental Shaman. If we had another Elemental Shaman, And then the other mage's arcane touch the magic are exploded. Mine would be exploding a second later. Without a buyer, with an extra elemental shaman, these ads would be dead as fuck, right? If you're going to look for a mirror image later, then you would do it right now. It would be after your touch of the magi explodes, so because you've already gotten your touch off, right? That's what's gonna do a lot of damage for AOE. At this point, it's just a naked surge, so it's either casting it now, before the thing, or during your soul. Obviously, just cast it now. Once again, we're in reclear, so I don't care. I'm just gonna not do that because I'm full HP. If I get scared, obviously I have 5 defensives I can press, and the health pot and the health zone. But yeah. This is small if you really trust yourself as a mage because you can shimmer. One thing I did in my prog is that I actually ran ahead all the time because sometimes we do a melee on the edge here, and basically like if the melee is a DK and they're slow on killing the wall, he doesn't make it. So instead I'm gonna move here and I'm gonna look at when the melee circle is here. I see the DH, so then I adjust. Obviously there's plenty of time to do that, but yeah. Alright, get in position, line up your altar into shifting, and then just do the same thing. Go for the touch of the magi ASAP, like I said, so that it explodes on all the ads. Go for the extra barrage into orb, and now my touch of the magi actually gets to explode. I did an extra cheeky barrage just because in my mind I was like, okay, there is 5 targets, and I don't know how many extra globals I'm gonna get, and my touch of the magi is exploding on these targets. And as soon as like my touch explodes, my damage is gonna go down significantly anyway. And Pargoth is pretty chill already, so I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna send the barrage, go for the extra AoE damage, even though I'm gonna go to 0 charges. I'm gonna have a GI at least to recover me. Kinda risky. I probably wouldn't do this in the future, but yeah. Anyway, everything dies. We gateway. I mass barrier hopefully. We're stopping DPS. Oh, I don't even mass barrier XD. Yeah. Anyway, we kill Pargoth. Make sure, whenever you're transitioning platform to platform, that you always have 4 charges, no matter what. Even if you let tempo drop, have 4 charges, because you're gonna let tempo drop no matter what, right? You cannot preserve tempo from platform to platform or platform to Dimensius. Just make sure you have 4 charges no matter what, okay? You can always spam barrages to get back to a GI just to get charges back. Anyway, at this point you're falling. Watch your HP. If you need to health stone here, then health stone. I actually go for a mass barrier because I realized I didn't cast it here. Normally I would have a barrier here instead, but yeah. I cast it. I even just health stone for safety, I think. But you definitely don't need to. I mean, I was full HP. Okay, we're falling. Okay, so our next thing now is setting up for the burn. You want to evocate a little later than I did. You want to evocate when the weakened, like this bar, the big wigs bar, is actually on like 2 seconds. That's when you evo, because as soon as you evo, you're gonna arcane explosion. See, I'm a little bit early. I arcane explosion a little later. I could have definitely delayed a second, right? The purpose of arcane explosioning is to consume 1 clear casting to get your nether precision up already, because you want to do max damage in the burn. We don't want to be casting our arcane missiles into the boss because it just does no damage, right? We'd rather have most damage into the rest of our kit instead. So you're gonna go for a surge, barrage, touch, obviously, and then you're just full DPSing. Important to note, damage amp calculations are on cast, not on landing. So even if the boss is like, let's say 0.5 seconds remaining on the amp, if you cast the barrage, that barrage will benefit from the amp, even if it lands afterwards, okay? So don't get baited and think, oh, I'm going to cast extra blasts because barrage will not fit or something. Touch of the Magi is not extra amped, so it doesn't matter if touch explodes after. But I mean, it will always explode during. But even if it explodes after, you don't lose anything, because the damage you deal into touch is amped, and that's all that counts. Anyway, we're just DPSing here. Get into soul. Play the game. You shouldn't need to pop any defenses for what it's worth here. Maybe in early prog you'll have to pop a little bit. You can like go for a mirror image or something, or you can like look for health pot or health stone. You're pretty immortal as a mage on this phase, so feel free to be liberal with your health pots. Anyway, stars coming down. Okay, so this is something valuable to learn. For stars drops 1, 4, and 5. So the first one, technically, yeah, it's 1, 4, and 5. So the first one and the 2 scary ones at the end. I know the Race the World First did like the shimmer stuff. I don't like the shimmer stuff, especially on the first one, because it's just free. But even on the fourth and fifth one, you can do this, where basically like you can actually alter time instead, so that you don't have to aim. Okay? If you're scared of aiming your shimmer, then don't. Right? You have the alter time alternative. So what I'm gonna do here is stand here, because the third star always spawns here. Always. It's always, the third star is always behind you. And so if the third star is always behind you, that means that where you are in melee range of the third star is also the exact overlap of the Venn diagram of the second and third star. Continue, like always, no matter what. So you can alter in melee range of the boss, and then just do your DPS. And then when you see the overlap form, where the race to world first people like, or other people just like shimmered here, I don't shimmer, I just alter back. You see like the other mage in my guild is shimmering, I just alter. Right? Yeah, you can do that. And then you'll have to move afterwards. The downside of doing this is that you have to be careful of your tank, and you can even set your altar a little bit on the path, but it makes timing a little bit tighter. But yeah. You're gonna move, get into your star. For this one, I think I used mirror images only. Yeah, I mirror image, I ice barrier. It doesn't matter too much whether you, not ice barrier, sorry, prismatic barrier. It doesn't matter too much here, but yeah. Anyway, at this point with movement in P3, you want to be very, very comfortable with pressing Arcane Explosion and barrages like randomly because you have Orb. So you see here I barrage for movement, I Arcane Orbed, and then I'm going to Explosion and Shimmer one time for charges. Well, Shimmer for movement, but Arcane Explosion for charges. I know that I probably am fine at this point, so I'm not going to go for another barrage. I just cast Arcane Explosion when I cannot cast anything else, and then go back to Arcane Blasting. Fight it during missiles and barrage, and just, yeah, play the game. Do rotation. Second and third stars, you do want to do the shimmer stuff. Unfortunately, you cannot use alter time because you want to end up where your group is, and it's just safer to do it this way. The aiming is honestly not that hard. I only really did the altar for the first one, to be honest. I thought of doing it for more often, but it's just good to know that it's something you can do. You don't have to do it, but yeah. Now we're gonna shimmer 2 rings, and then if you want here, you can alter time the third ring just to heal yourself up. It's completely okay to do that. It's even good to do that. I'm not worried anymore because of it's reclear, like I said. I'm fine taking the hit. Yeah, never gonna die to this. You can see how healthy I am. We all are. But yeah, you're just pressing cooldown on cooldown, right? We're not delaying anything. Notice that you can use your evocation as like cast while moving, and you can utilize that, right? I hold for a little bit just to get, a nicer timing. And I notice that I hold my GI actually also for the big burn here, so that I can feed my GI into the touch. It's super minor, super minor, but just yeah. The extra damage from GI into touch is nice. When you get pulled, just like, don't press movement keys, just DPS. We're just DPSing. Okay. Now this is very unfortunate because we have a buyer, so our damage is a little bit lower. Normally here the boss would be in execute because we have an extra ascendance with shaman into the burn, right? And an extra DPS. So my soul here would normally hit execute. I don't here because of the buyer. So I actually lose quite a bit of damage at this point of the fight. Because every barrage I cast up until here, so like the majority of the soul actually should have been doubled, but it is what it is. Anyway, we blink the first ring, and then you're gonna shifting power, and then you're gonna blink the second ring when it's safe. I personally always like to blink towards the edge of the room. I find that it's more room now after the nerfs to the size of the balls. But you can easily blink in the middle if you want. Just make sure you avoid like collapsing too early with the third ring. You can do the double shimmer, but honestly on this second and third one especially, I really just don't recommend it. It's not worthwhile because you just have so many defensives because you're a mage. Like you can skip 2 of them with shimmer and then you can auto time the third, or just have a barrier for the third. But technically, like, barrier you ideally want to have, but that was like a random barrier. It wasn't even mage barrier. So yeah, like you can just see I'm not pressing anything and I'm extremely healthy, right? My guild's healers obviously are very powerful, so keep that in mind. For your prog, that might not be as healthy for you. Obviously, it certainly wasn't for our prog either at the start. Anyway, after the pull, we're going to position for our last devour. Once again, be comfortable using barrages and orbs for movement, like you see me doing here, an arcane explosion. I use Ice Cold for this Devourer. I actually pressed it pretty late. I should have pressed it earlier than this. Because right now it's up, but it's doing nothing. I should have pressed it like... I mean, it's like 6-second duration, right? So you can even press it like... Where's the hide timer? Oh, it's actually like even before this. Like, I could have pressed it already right now, right? As soon as the Devourer starts casting, you can already press it just to mitigate damage. Maybe if you press it in the last millisecond, it can cover planet exploding. I don't know if that's true or not. It actually might be true. So maybe if you press it at the last millisecond of Devour, you can cover a very damage explosion. But I know that for the first one, if you have a 6-second, the first explosion plus gravity, then if you pop it at the very end of the explosion, right before the like it also covers the gravity, but that's only for the first one, so it doesn't really matter for us too much. Maybe on this one actually too. Like if you pop it at the end of this explosion, the planet's exploding, it covers its gravity. You can do that as well if you want. Just make sure you live the Devourer. Anyway, when you get the gravity, you're just gonna move along. Just keep doing damage. Nothing crazy. Just spam a bunch of arcane explosions, arcane orbs. You know, play the game. Do your best to DPS. Don't worry too much about like greeting your globals, especially in Prague. Just really make sure you like get comfortable pressing extra barrages into orbs and arcane exploding, and then just yeah. Because that stuff will build your intuition, bad luck protection. It will build up like just a bunch of things. You know, you can proc clear castings extra, which obviously do damage when you cast them on the move. Yeah. Anyway, for this third one, I choose to just run. Evocate on the move here. You can delay this Evocate by a second if you want, but I think the timing I did it there was great. And then you're gonna Missile and Shimmer. Just make sure you don't Missile and Shimmer into the boss. Make sure you adjust your camera, obviously. Shimmer the first ring and then go to the edge and then move a little bit towards the second one. Cast your Surge, Barrage, Touch and then move into the second one. Okay? And now you're fine from the third one. You might have to adjust it a little bit, but it should be fine. You're just gonna eat these. Your whole group is gonna be stacked. You're not gonna die if your healers are decent, but if they're not, you have auto time, right? You're shimmering the first one, you're eating the second one, or you can auto time the second one so that you don't take damage from that one, and then you're full HP. You're not gonna die to a single ring, right? Especially like there's nothing happening after the third one, right? It's just the boss dies, or like I guess there's a gravity on this one, but yeah, you have plenty of time to heal up. For this gravity, this is the last gravity, you just empty whatever you have. So here I greater invis, hopefully. I don't even know if I do it because it's reclear, like I said. We're all healthy, or I'm healthy. But yeah, definitely did that greater invis on Prague, let me tell you. Finish your soul up. I cast an extra one by accident. Shimmer the first ring, like I said. You can alter time the second one, or just shimmer it if you're feeling ballsy. And then, yeah, do whatever you need to for the third one. I mean, honestly, if you're not a buyer and your group is not like having a scuffed pull, the boss will be dead by then. In our prog, for what it's worth, we killed the boss like here. The boss died right now in our prog. Oh wait, no, this is Gravity 5. Sorry. He died right here. After this one. Yeah, like he died here. This was our prog, and obviously, so, you know, we're behind because we have a buyer and it was a bad pull, a lot of deaths. I think on our previous week without a buyer, it died. Died like right as Gravity 5 comes out, I think. Like he died here, I think. Yeah. Anyway, irrelevant. Just, it's a lot of stuff going on. The main tips I would say is optimize P1 when you can. Think about your defenses heavily, your movement, how you can play around with it, and especially think about how the mechanics work and how you're going to play around them, right? So, for example, preempting the line on Artoshion so that you don't get in an awkward position, right? If you know you're going to get the line, be in a position so you can shimmer out. Plan your shimmers for these rings so you can minimize damage taken. Think about how you're going to move in this last phase. Plan out everything. Like every shimmer should be assigned basically. And that comes with a bit of experience, but you can kind of really like think about like, okay, what am I allowed to shimmer, you know? If you want to prepare. And then yeah, like I said, this last phase is pretty easy as a mage. The only hard part about it for us is actually just not killing yourself with a shimmer. But with the reduced ball size now, it's so much easier that you're not even in danger of like going into oblivion when you shimmer around. So anyway, I hope this has been helpful. Hopefully, and yeah, good luck on Prog.